right, Daniel, how we feeling?
This is either allergies for those watching, for those listening. I have a mask on my face right now, and if I sound nasally, this is either allergies or the common cold. I'm leaning towards the common cold right now because this has been prolonged for about 24 hours now, and I took allergy medication and cold medication just to see which one's going to balance out the runny nose, the watery eyes, not too much of a cough, but. This isn't my Jordan flu game, or I guess the story now is maybe he was hungover in that game. But this is an inspired performance by me. I'm just gonna put it out there that hey, sometimes you just gotta tough it out and help out your coworkers and be considerate for others in close proximity and not a lot of ventilation here at KTBS. We'll say so. An attempt to cut down on the spread of germs, but hey, other people got it worse. I'm good. And
So Daniel Brown listed as probable for this episode of the Benchwarmers. Welcome into the Benchwarmers, episode 4?
5?
5?
Yeah.
I don't know. We're getting through it. I'm Alex. He's Daniel.
I'm Daniel.
Daniel's sick. We're working through it. Thank you for being here. We had Sydney in the bullpen ready to go.
Yeah.
But you wanted to step up, and we respect that.
I feel like once it's necessary, like battling through the common cold, yes, in all respects, I probably should have stayed home. But I'm factoring in several issues of economics, having to pay to go to urgent care, to get a doctor's note, essentially.
Right.
This is my technical Friday, so we're recording this on a Monday. And I have an upcoming 3 days off. So you know what? Try your best. If it was a lot worse, if I had a fever, it'd be different. But I didn't have a fever, 97.7, so maybe
Love it.
Maybe a little off. I think it's supposed to be 98.5.
I don't know.
Yeah. So did not have a fever. I'll check that again tomorrow.
Good deal.
But yeah, glad to be here on a Monday at KTBS and chatting with you about what's going on in the sports world here locally and nationally.
There's a lot going on. I think locally, top of mind would be the baseball, softball playoffs. And you covered, you were here, but you covered over the weekend Calvary and North DeSoto both getting it done.
Yeah.
For Calvary, obviously, very emotional journey, what they dealt with this year.
Yeah.
And with North DeSoto, got to be one of, if not the craziest ways to win a softball state championship.
And there were a number of bunt walk-offs in the state championships this past weekend in Sulphur, and North DeSoto being one of them. The commentator actually was like, "This is my second one. This is awesome." He's loving it as much. But for those that don't know or haven't seen, North DeSoto was able to tie the game. They were trailing 5-4 heading into the seventh, 7 innings in softball. Managed to tie it at 5, and then had a runner on third. I forget the distance from third to home in softball. I know it's 90 feet in baseball. And Kinsley Coleman lays down the bunt. Maddie Stringer coming home. And the ball's right in line with the catcher to make the grab and tag, but just a matter of inches. Maddie Stringer avoids the tag and hands North DeSoto their 7th softball state championship. And just what an amazing moment for that program. And glad to see them get the win. Glad to see all our teams make it. Logansport was there. Stanley was there.
Right.
Unfortunately, they didn't win the championship, but DeSoto Parish on the map. Calvary, once again, they won their 7th title as well, 5th in a row, which is
pretty wild.
Softball is where it's at in Northwest Louisiana.
And it seemed like, back to that North DeSoto play, it seemed like Maddie Stringer, when she touched home plate, there was a half a second of where did we just win? Is it over? This is awesome.
It was an awesome celebration. Just her helmet's falling off her head as she's hitting the ground. She slams it on the ground. The team swarms her. And it was a great moment to see. Full disclosure, I didn't see that live.
Yeah.
But I went back to watch it live, if you will. When I was cutting highlights, I was like, all right, I'll find it in the bottom of the 7th and just let it play. And watching that organically develop was something to see. And, man, softball's awesome.
Yeah, it really is. And then on the baseball front, we got 2 teams left.
Yeah.
We got Benton, we got North DeSoto.
Yeah.
Semifinals are not at the state tournament.
It's funky how they do it. Some divisions and classifications are in Sulphur, where are they playing?
Lake Charles.
Lake Charles. the state tournament there, and then other semifinals are on home campuses. For North DeSoto, they have an opportunity to play in Stonewall. Benton having to go on the road as a 5 seed. I think there was like a discrepancy on one online account that had Benton at home, but
they're on the road,
so they're on the road. But yeah, gotta see if North DeSoto can pull off the two sports winning championships, a la like UConn did that in women's basketball, and men's basketball.
Right.
So let's see if the North DeSoto Griffins can do it in softball, and then baseball following that up.
You know, all this DeSoto Parish talk reminds me of something that I have been meaning to tell you for 2 years.
Okay.
A couple years ago, after Friday football, Southern Classic Chicken, Friday football fever ended, DeSoto Parish sent us a nice little care package with some hats and stuff.
Okay.
I have hats for you at my house that I have forgotten to bring to you for 2 years. This has kind of become the new, what was it? What movie? Mad Max.
Yeah.
For people that don't know.
Inside joke, inside information.
So we, gosh, how long ago was that?
That was like whenever Mad Max Blu-ray came out. It was a solid 7 years. Alex had it, and it was a running joke. Like, hey, you watch Mad Max yet? Watch Mad Max yet?
Yeah.
And it was a constant no. And then
and I never watched it.
And then I got a girlfriend who's going 5 years strong now. And then when the one with, it was like a remake, retrograde prequel to the Mad Max. Well, hey, trying to watch Mad Max and Blu-ray, and then I finally got the Blu-ray back. So so I think I'm good another 2 to 4 years
on the hats,
and then I'll need the hat.
Okay, so we'll keep
not
that.
a big hat guy, but when you're having a bad hair day, sometimes you got to throw it
and
on.
they're cool. I mean, I wear the North DeSoto lid all the time. I wore it this weekend. Well,
this isn't a shot, but it is a shot. What's better, the Parkway hat or the North DeSoto hat?
The North DeSoto hat.
Okay.
I mean, you're going to see me wearing the Parkway hat later. Contractually obligated to wear that. I figured as long as I'm not sporting the hot lid all the time, I'm still doing okay. I mean, we support the other teams in our area. And they were so nice to send us this care package. So it was Mansfield hat, North DeSoto hat, Logan Sport visor. So I do have all that for you. And I have had it sitting in my spare room. I
like that green from Mansfield.
No, you're going to like the Mansfield.
I might have to rock the Mansfield. Shout out to the Wolverines.
Yeah. So, long story short, don't give me things. Give them to Daniel, because he's way more responsible than I am with that kind of stuff. But yeah, so Kim has even gone to the point of, like, my wife Kim, taking the hats like out of the spare room and putting them like right by my keys,
so you don't forget them.
Yeah, and then so it is a constant struggle. I got a lot of things. I'm juggling a lot of things all the time. So
one day you'll see me walking around the Architects. I'll have that Mansfield hat on, wearing it proudly.
It's pretty. So hey, and again, we'll just do this shamelessly right now. Any local school district that has merch, like, I will wear it and I will keep it from Daniel for years.
Keep the swag.
Let's keep the swag going. I need a Loyola hat.
The Snoopy?
Yeah. You know what? We should do that when we get to the off season. We should rank local teams.
So you want people to be mad at us?
Just logos. We're just ranking logos.
And you want people to be mad at us?
Yes. And hopefully we can inspire some change, right? We got some uniforms that aren't very good. Let's think. It's my least favorite uniform right now in the area. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do favorite.
Yeah.
And I think it's
we could probably do like a podcast segment on that.
Yeah, let's hang on to that, because we're going to get to a point where we don't have anything to talk about.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot to talk about right now, because we talk about football season, and obviously it is the busiest time of year for sports fans. But to me, March Madness, great. But the second, in the tier of sports parts of the sports calendar, this is number 2 for me. NHL, NBA playoffs in full swing. You got multiple games every night.
Early May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got both of our birthdays coming up. Happy birthday on Thursday to Daniel, if you're listening to this.
Appreciate
Wish him
it.
happy birthday. But these games, it's such high stakes every single night in and night out. We had the Warriors Game 7 last night. That was not really that exciting.
Classic Rockets Warriors.
Yeah, and then we had
the rip out there.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about, and I heard this on another podcast, but the fact that Steph Curry killed the Harden Rockets. And then he's back again with this new age of Rockets, still doing the same thing. Insane. You had
James Harden still manages. Sorry to take your point, James Harden fails in a Game 7. Surprise! James Harden doesn't show up at a pivotal moment. The same story in every stop in his playoff career.
Yeah.
I don't dislike James Harden, but I've never been a fan of his game, of like the kind of sneaky draw foul,
Trying to get the
you
foul.
know, like, and then the three, and then everybody was like, "Oh, James Harden's the greatest offensive player," and I'm just like, "Man, get that noise out of here, man!" Like, no. I like the way these playoffs have just from an entertainment standpoint. Bring it back to the NHL, like,
Right.
yo, the Winnipeg Jets, like, what?
Yeah,
and then the Dallas Stars, like, yo.
So you had back-to-back nights of Game 7, and I'm sorry, our director Matt is a big Avs fan, so that hurt, that hurt him bad. But you have back-to-back nights of Game 7s where these like unbelievable comebacks take place. The home team in both cases gets the win. I want to be in one of those buildings. I don't know about you. I have FOMO every time. I don't normally love large crowds of people, but when you see all the folks in Winnipeg, like out in like the square out there, just going wild when that puck goes out, I'm like, God, I kind of want to be there. Like, can you imagine the excitement of? And there's nothing like it. Like an overtime playoff goal for your team in hockey is like. That's the best drug ever.
I would think the next closest thing is probably the walk-off home run, where you're like, you can see the ball traveling out. You know you're going to win, but until it lands, that's probably up there. The buzzer beater shot in basketball is very up there as well, but you have to see it go through the hoop. But yeah, that overtime hockey goal is just like
it's so fast, right? And you talk about it, like I was telling my wife this when we were watching Winnipeg. They scored with 1.6 seconds left to send the game into overtime. Game 7, the latest game time goal in Game 7 history in the NHL. And then they win in double overtime, and you're watching. I mean, you're seeing now Blues fans obviously very upset and everything. And you look at Jordan Bennington there after that goal goes in. I was explaining to my wife, it's just so crazy. You work so hard for so long, and even in that game, 2 overtimes. And it's over, just like that. One misplay. And, you go back to Bennington, he elected to not play the puck behind the net on that final rush that resulted in that tying goal. He's probably going to kick himself for the next 6 months over that. And it's just crazy how I think that's what's so special to me about hockey is that these little minute things, it'll get you. And then in an instant, if you're a Blues fan, there's 2 seconds left. You're like, all right, we're good.
That's pain, man. 1.6. That's ultimate pain. But bringing it back locally in the sense of just like how hard you work. Those girls for North Dakota, they work so hard. And they have the possibility of extra innings. The game's tied as well. But you see, how a matter of 3 to 4 inches is your season.
It's crazy.
Your whole year is made. And then a split-second decision in hockey where you don't play the puck out. And now you're sitting at home.
In those moments, regardless of the sport, is why so many people even have jobs like us. Like we're sitting here talking about, you know what I mean? It's it's just so, it is the purest form of entertainment in this world. And I am, just hockey, man.
Sports.
It gets me going. It just gets me all fired up. Let's do a sock check before we get to our interview.
We kind of showed it off a little bit with our legs
I'm
kind of
rocking
on the knee.
my dog. You got the Dragon Ball.
I got the Dragon Ball.
So you can't really, it's not, this is Sasha here.
Yeah.
So Sasha is very photogenic, one of our Huskies. This is the only bad picture I've ever been able to take of her.
She's still cute.
And we made it a sock out because every other picture she's like stunning.
Alex's sock game is very elite. I'm kind of still on my, kind of Dragon Ball anime stuff.
Yeah,
I got to
fair.
branch out my sock game, incorporate some of my other favorite animes. I do have a Hunter x Hunter. I have a My Hero sock.
I love both of
those. But the pet socks are very elite. Maybe I could get Moses, my dog, on my socks. I actually got my girlfriend Melissa Moses socks one time, so maybe I need to like re-up for me.
Well, I was going to tell you, I forgot that you did that. I was going to say I got the information on the dog merchandise. That's like every Christmas. That's what I go for with my wife. It
never fails.
It's
enhance your pets, and then it's like
it's the easiest. Right. It's the easiest gift, and then later on in life, you have mementos to remember them.
Yeah.
But we're not going to.
We're happy thoughts.
Yeah, this is all
dogs
happy.
Are man's and women's and everybody's best friends.
Another thing that makes me very happy is spring football in high school.
Yeah.
We're kind of back a little bit, right? We have practices kicking off around the area. I know Evangel just had their spring scrimmage. Saw a couple Pop Houston highlights for all the people that are tired of hearing me talk about
Pop Houston, he was quarterback in this area.
It was great highlights. I mean, of course it's a scrimmage. He's going to look awesome, but excited about that. But that is where we go for our interview. Parkway head coach Coy Brotherton on the show. I did want to give a quick update. We're going to mention it in the interview, but Coach Sewell is sending us the Wonderlick. I did talk to him today.
All right.
So next week we'll take the Wonderlick, assuming we get them in time. I still haven't decided if we're going to do it live. I think maybe. I mean, it depends on what's going on. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll do it on air. Maybe we'll do it like during the interview.
They're like a pre-recorded, like we record
Yeah.
live to tape, if you will,
Right.
like TV vernacular, like
Yeah.
just record us doing it
Yeah.
and then playing it back later. That could be fun. We'll have time to hash it out.
We'll figure it out. We'll get there. But let's go to our interview now. Coy Brotherton, head coach of the Parkway Panthers. We welcome on another special guest, our second straight high school football coach. We had Houghton last week, so it's only fair to do Parkway this week. Coy Brotherton in the house here with the Benchwarmers. Coach, I know you guys are starting spring practice right now. How's everything going out there?
It's going good. We were able to get out there and get started Monday. So we got a couple practices on our belts now, and took yesterday off. We had a lot of kids that competed in the regional track meet in Natchitoches. So we'll get back going today and get another full week next week, and we'll finish up with Minden on May the 13th.
Your players that are competing in track, what kind of advantages do they get from being dual sport? I know a lot of the focus in sports world is these days is one sport focus. This is your life. But what benefits do you see from those dual sport athletes?
Well, we try to get all our kids involved in something. We have a lot of kids here that do play. I call them your major sports, that play football with baseball or basketball. So we have a lot of those kids that are already doing that. But for all those that don't, we try to encourage them and ask them to either go through track or wrestling. For a lot of our linemen, wrestling's a good sport for them because it's all coordination and balance and strength and conditioning. So we use our wrestling for that, and then for our runners and our skill guys that aren't playing basketball or aren't playing baseball, we encourage them to go out there and go through a running program to try to get faster and get stronger in the legs, and maybe that can help us, in the sprints or even in the jump. So we've done a good job here at Parkway allowing our kids and encouraging our kids to participate in more than one. And like I said, the balance and the speed, the coordination, and just staying in shape and staying active. The last thing you want a high school kid to do is go 6 or 7 months without doing anything. It'd be hard to get them back going again.
Well, you had the, I think, most infamous two-sport athlete last season with Gavin, and the way that whole thing played out. It's obviously been a few months since the season ended. Have you taken some moments to reflect just how crazy of a year it was for you guys?
Yeah, it was definitely crazy. Just all the things that these kids had to go through and battle, and injuries and suspensions and things like that. And and Gavin's story is one that you'll always remember. But just not only playing the quarterback, but just what he brought to the locker room, and he led Bible study after practice every day, and by the end of the year, we had kids that were doing that, and a couple kids that got saved. So, he was just valuable, just to have on your team, and just the person that he was, and and then the football story kind of took care of itself. But it was definitely a year that, as a coach, you'll always remember. And I'm telling you, and I've told everybody this, is any success that we had last year, it was so rewarding for our kids and our staff, just because we knew how much they had put in, the time they had put in, and it made any success that we had, it made it that much more sweeter.
And the success that you did have this season comes along with stress as well. How much of a chance did you have to break away from the 2024 season before you start into the 2025 prep? Was there any layoff at all for you?
Yeah, we do, and we take a little time off, and we've always kind of used Christmas as that, and you get those 2 weeks off Christmas break, and it's a grind in high school football. I told our coaches, and I tell our parents all the time, it's high school football. If all you did was play football and you didn't play other sports, you're really only getting off 2 weeks a year, and that's the 2 weeks at Christmas break, because, when you're in school, we got strength and conditioning going on. It's part of their PE curriculum. And then in the summer, we go all summer long, and then the grind comes back in August. So, we're always going to be here. We're always going to be working. But, we definitely kind of took January and February and didn't really stress football to our kids a whole lot. We had a lot of competition and a lot of games that we put into our off season this year, to where we weren't hitting that weight room. I'm not saying we weren't hitting it as hard, but we kind of spent more, team bonding, games, competition. And that's kind of more of our focus in January and February this year, before we started switching gears to to football when once basketball season ended and some of those kids came back.
Now we talked to Coach Sewell last week. Obviously, they're getting ready to do the Buccaneer Challenge. I'm sure you remember the Buccaneer Challenge from your time in Houghton. Coach Sewell said he's going to send us their Wonderlic test. I was going to maybe pick your brain for any. Did you take that test? And if you did, do we have a chance?
I haven't ever taken it. I would say that I would score good on it, but I haven't ever done it or tried it. I would like to get my hands on one and see if I could. But no, that's pretty neat. It's pretty cool for those kids. That's something, I know we do football and we're so consumed with wins and losses, but that those are things right there that those kids and like we're talking about now. You reflect back on what you remember as a player, and a lot of time it is games like that and competition. And we don't do the Buccaneer Challenge or anything like that here, but we always were doing competitions this year and this off season. And some of the games were silly, some of them were competitive, some of them were funny. But our kids really enjoyed it. They kept them on their toes. What was going to be next?
You kind of answered the follow-up question I was going to ask. The games that you play, the competition in that kind of January, February, partially December period, what type of games are you having players and I guess coaches as well doing?
Almost embarrassed to tell you. Some of them were physical. We did use the weight room and weight room competitions for that, push-ups and things like that. Some of them were relay races, but a lot of them were made up on the fly. Some of them may have been a dance competition or a singing competition. Or, my favorite one was we had each team nominate somebody, and we didn't tell them what they were going to have to do, but their competition was who could give the best pregame speech.
Wow.
And having some of them kids imitate me or one of the other coaches was pretty good. They got pretty creative with it, and that's what I told them. It don't matter what we do, we want to win it. And so it kind of it was fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. We need to have some of the boys come in and give us a pregame speech on a Friday night before the show.
Some weeks we need it.
We could use it. I'm not the best motivator when it comes to that. I did want to ask about, obviously it's been a year or so now since Jason stepped away from coaching. And in that same spirit, do you guys have another way that you kind of get that competitiveness out in between you guys since you aren't really going head to head anymore?
No, not really. I think he misses that. That's the one thing he does probably miss the most is the competition in the games. It's as an athlete, your whole life growing up and then coaching, everything you do is athletic competition, and you always want to try to win. So he's missing that part of the job. I know he's gotten a lot more time to spend at home, and there's different responsibility that he's got during the school day that keeps him on his toes and keeps him busy. But man, as far as me and him go, it's now down to the fantasy sports, fantasy baseball, fantasy football, fantasy golf, whatever it may be. That's kind of the only competition we get to go at each other. And I told him I really think it's made him better. He's taking more of my fantasy money than he used to when he was busy coaching.
So, Coach, being a little brother myself, it's always an awesome moment to beat your big brother, where it's an actual physical competition or a video game like Madden. Few and far between for me. How many times did you beat big brother growing up in your various competitions?
Growing up, not many. He always had the age difference on me. It's a 7-year gap between us. So, I tell him when I was in my prime, he was out of the house. He wasn't living there. So, it wasn't until our adult coaching against each other that I was able to finally, get a little upper hand and get some bragging rights. But growing up, man, him and his friends, I looked up to them, but they'd beat me up all the time.
It's part of being a little brother. You get beat up. It's just kind of part of the rite of passage, So,
I can't relate, but as the big brother, I get it. So, and so now obviously it kind of the roles kind of reverse it, and you have Sewell now leading Houghton, and not related, but kind of probably has that feeling of a little brother. I mean, he's been a guy that's been around you for so long and coached with you at Parkway. What's it like now going head to head with Sewell?
It's fun. I mean, it's. For me and him, we're probably best friends. So I don't really think about it a whole lot, but I know that he's close to a lot of our assistants here, and A lot of our assistants are close to him, so I think they probably give each other more heck and more grief than me and Matthew do. Me and Matthew kind of sympathize with each other and bounce ideas off each other, and we can relate. But when it comes to Coach James or Coach Taylor, some of these other assistants that we've all worked together, they kind of keep the ribbon to each other a little more than me and Matthew do.
Yeah, for sure. And so I don't know if how well you can see it, but I'm decked out in the Parkway stuff. I got the dirty red shirt. I think I have 5 Parkway hats now.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, what are we going to do this year? Maybe to spice it up a bit. I don't know if you have any ideas. I think I'm good on hats. What other merch? What other merch do we possibly have that we could throw on me here on a Friday night?
I'm gonna have to get you a coaching polo this year. Something you wear on the golf course,
Okay.
or to the hockey games, to the Mud Buzz game. Get you one of them Parkway polos. But that's always good to have some Parkway gear. You can't have too much. Hey, and it's good color. It's still got some red in it for you.
Well, it's a shame for me because I actually most of my clothing is red and black, so it just fits right in perfectly. Except when I remember the first time I went home with this hat on, went to my dad's house. He doesn't watch all the shows. Whatever. But
right.
The look on his face, like, what in the world are you wearing? What are you doing? And I'm like, dude, you went to airline. Why does it? I don't understand it. But that rivalry is just so fun.
Maybe a Sobo shirt. I don't know if there's like a football specific one you could cook up in
Sure there is.
in the lab. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I still want to keep my family, Daniel. Oh man, over a couple months ago, you had that home run derby on campus, and obviously you're the head football coach, but you deal with everything when it comes to athletics there at Parkway. What was that experience like? I know for the short time I was there, it seemed really special.
That was a cool night. J.D. Stevens, his charity, he did that. He put that on. Former coach there at Benton. Not knowing J.D., we grew up playing ball together at Halton. So, he kind of came to Coach Quickland, our baseball coach, with that idea, and it was great to be able to host it. And the turnout was great. And that's from the fans to the guys, all the alumni that came, or all the former MLB players that came back and played, and it was fun to be able to watch. And and brought my kid out there and his buddies, and they were able to get out there on the field and shag balls. So they enjoyed that experience too, and it was great. Everything but the weather. It was a little cold that night, but just to have. Jeremy offered, a guy that's around my age whose kid plays with Brooks, to be able to win it as a non-former MLB player. That was pretty cool for Jeremy, and but just to see Christian Turner out there as a high school kid competing with Todd Walker and Michael Aubrey and those guys, that was pretty cool for our community. Something different for our community that we hadn't seen before. And that's something that I hope those guys participated in would want to do again. And we'd be more than happy to keep posting that. That was a cool deal.
Yeah, I loved it. You mentioned your son, Rooks, and he 2 things about him is he's real good at getting on Friday Football Fever, because when I'm getting those ISO shots of Coach, he's usually right there pregame. I love that stuff. But also, he is a very accomplished golfer, if I remember. Didn't he recently win a competition?
He's he competes in golf. He does a pretty good job here around here, and he beats me more times than I beat him now. So, but now he's 8 years old and he plays on these little local golf tours, and he's been able to win quite a few tournaments here lately, and he really loves it doing it. But he plays baseball and football too, so we're gonna keep letting him play all 3 of them as long as he wants to play them, and. But he does love that golf probably more than all of them, and he's got a pretty little swing. So I hope he continues to want to do it. I think he could be pretty decent at it.
I don't want to get too serious here, but you see him always interacting with the guys, whether it be in the locker room or on the sidelines, and I'm sure it brings back memories of you and your dad when you were young. Yeah. And what's it like to be able to share that moment now with your son on the other side?
Oh, that's awesome. He loves it. Obviously, he loves it. And he knows all these kids by name. They all know him. They treat him like little brother. And he's football nonstop talking at home. Right now it's who's the starting quarterback, who's the starting running back, and we've had 2 days of spring practice for Brooks, but now he wants to know how everybody's doing at practice, and like I said, he likes being in that locker room and being on that sideline, and me and Jason can attest to that. Being with Dad, that was some of our best memories and things that we remember from our childhood revolves around high school athletics and revolves around that locker room. And it's I know how special it was for me, and it's pretty cool to be able to see him experience that same thing.
And you took me to my next question again, Coach. Growing up, when did you know that you wanted to be a coach, or when did you kind of have that thought of this is something that I could do for the rest of my life?
That's a question that I've always been asked, and I really don't know the answer to that. I don't know if it was ever a moment that I realized that's what I was going to do, or if it was just that was all I knew I was going to do. Having dad do it, and then obviously Jason's 7 years older. I mean, when he decided he probably wanted to do it, he was probably in 14, 15, and I was 7 and 8, and I was going to do the same thing he wanted to do.
Right.
So I don't ever remember ever wanting to be anything else other than just a coach. It's just something that, like I said, I was probably born to want to do it or wanted to do it, and I can imagine looking at my son. He's probably going to have to experience the same thing. I imagine if I had to guess and put money on it, that's probably what he's going to do too.
Yeah, that's a safe bet, and I mean, you got to have a Brotherton roaming the sidelines here in the Arklatex. It only makes sense. Now, I don't want to ask too many Houghton questions, but you saw the stuff with Dak, obviously, and being someone that's from there. How special is that to have one of your own come back and contribute in such a big way?
That's pretty cool, and just to see the message it can send to kids, and you can get to that level from Halton, you get to that level from Bossier Parish, from our area. That's pretty cool and special. And I think sometimes locally, some of our kids or some of our adults, fans, kind of downplay, what Dak's been able to accomplish and what he's been able to do because he is local. But to the outside world, I mean, he's the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, he's one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's a veteran now. I mean, he was NFL Player of the Man of the Year 2 or 3 years ago, and he's been a Pro Bowler and everything else. So, I mean, he's up there, and just to be able to give back to one of our local schools, that's pretty cool. And I know for our kids, and I just look at my kid and then kids his age, they see him as the NFL quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and that's as I just think back when I was a kid. I mean, if that had been Troy Aikman or Tony Romo or somebody like that, that'd have been awesome, and it just means a lot, that our kids can look at Dak and see him not only give back to them, but he's been in their shoes and he's been in their place, and he made it to the top.
Well, with what you have going on there at Parkway, I see the Georgia helmet in the background. The legacy that's been there for other prior players from various Division I institutions. What is it like, kind of guiding these players onto that next level and helping them get to that process to maybe they become their own Dak Prescotts, if you will, for a Parkway in their pro futures?
I mean, it is, and we've been lucky at Parkway. In my 5 years here, we've had terrorists that's gotten drafted, and there's a Cowboys jersey right here that Israel gave us that we're fixing to put into a frame, and getting ready to send that off here in the next before we get off school next week, and get that framed at the school. And Brandon Harris is at Texas, and it's just been pretty cool that here at Parkway, we can look at NFL teams, we can watch a game on Sunday or talk about it. Then you have those guys that have made it to that level, and we have Aaron that's down there at LSU kicking, and Michaela's doing a great job at LSU for the girls basketball, and we've got several other kids that are out playing college football. So it just tells our kids, that you can get there. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have to take care of your schoolwork, and you're going to have to put some extra work in and do what's asked of you. But it's possible, and you can do it, and you can get there to that point. And like I said, it's in the world that we live in right now, the NIL and the transfers. There's money to be made in college athletics, and that's more than ever. That should be motivation to any kid that has the ability to play college sports. That you can make a living doing it, and I think that's pretty that's the positive part of NIL. There's so much negative that goes along with it. I think the positive is that these kids can earn some money and make a living doing it and get a head start on life.
And you guys have sent a ton of kids to the next level. I mean, signing day, both of them is always a big day on campus. How much are you in contact with those athletes that go on to the next level? And I'm sure they always are seeking advice or something from you.
Yeah, I try to check in on Aaron quite a bit. I know they're going through spring, and I've checked in with him a couple of times, and he's doing really good down there. And I've talked to him a lot during the season last year. And then we have Barrett Newman, who was at Liberty. He spent the last 2 years up there, and he's getting ready to probably go somewhere else. He's in the transfer portal now, so I've been talking to him a lot here lately, just trying to get some contacts for him and give him some advice. And he's got some offers that hit the table for him, so that's pretty neat. And I told him, I said, man, I hope you get closer to home. It was gonna be hard for me to make the game at Liberty, but one of these schools that have offered you here lately, that would be a lot easier to go watch you play. So talked to those two guys quite a bit. I mentioned Michaela a while ago, at LSU. I know I didn't coach her in girls basketball, but her brother's our quarterback tutor, Caleb, and I kind of follow her and keep up with her through him, and she comes in towns and watches his stuff at basketball or football, whatever it may be, and it's pretty cool, to be able to keep up with those kids, and and like I said, having a young kid, an 8-year-old at home, they're celebrities to him. So
Right.
anytime that I can talk to them or get to see them or go to a game and get a chance to talk to them, that's pretty neat.
I think am I bad at my job? I did not know that Caleb was Michaela's brother. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Come on, Alex.
Yeah. Just through the grapevine, you hear it.
And I'm the one in the
seen it.
Parkway gear.
Yeah. It's all good.
That's hand up. That's bad.
So,
Yikes.
so, Coach, we'll kind of switch it up here to, I guess, a rapid fire round of questions, kind of get to know you a little bit more, kind of behind the scenes, peel the curtain back. We're TV guys, so, we watch streaming or network television. What are you watching right now, your number one show it's on, I got to watch it, or the next update, the next episode's dropping? What are you tuning in to watch?
I'll be honest, I don't watch a lot of TV.
Okay.
And I'm not just saying that. I watch a lot of sports.
Yep.
But I do. But there is one series that I watch. I love the Chicago series, Chicago PD and Chicago Med.
Okay.
That's the only thing that we record at my house and watch.
Love it. And
Network TV, not bad.
so are we watching NBA, NHL playoffs? And if we are, were we happy or sad to see the Lakers get bounced?
I've kept up with it. Not a big NBA or NHL guy. Been watching a lot of baseball here lately, and first month of the season. My Twins are still in the race for a little bit more longer, so I always try to watch as many baseball games I can at the beginning of the year.
Thoughts on the torpedo bat?
Yeah, I wish my team would have created it first.
That's fair. We got to get you in hockey, Coach. I'm telling you, it's an incredible sport. So I know we talked. It was last off season. Talked about maybe college football 25. We playing that still? How's that going?
We have the game. It's funny you said that. Brooks turned it on last night for probably the first time that he's probably played it in about a month. I guess the rain kept him inside the house. So yeah, that's something that we play a lot in the summer. We played a lot in the summer getting ready for the football season. Played a little bit during the season, but once football season ended and we were able to get outside and start playing golf and hitting baseballs in the yard, we haven't played much PlayStation lately, but and he kind of started beating me, so I kind of quit playing as much.
Yeah, that's tough. And I actually, in our online dynasty, I have a game against my buddy Kevin tonight. So shout out, Kevin. You're going down. The Purdue Boilermakers are coming.
Along the golfing line, if you and Jason had to do match play, who's coming out on top in a round of 9 holes or 18?
If we played 18 holes, I'd beat him 10 and whatever, 10 and 9. Is that how many? 10 and 8.
I think 9 and 8.
I'm not sure. He might could tie one.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he hadn't swung the clubs in a while. Back in the day, it would have been a match, but I got him now.
Gotcha.
No, that's good. And it's for me, it's tough because I'm left-handed, right? So no one has left-handed clubs. That
They're not easy to find, but
Yeah.
maybe Phil Mickelson has, an old pair that he could.
Well, y'all don't want to see me out on the golf course, Coach. If y'all need an extra arm in spring practice, I've been working with Coach Harper. I can come out there and spin it for you. Just let me know, man. I'm sure you don't need that. But I'm trying to think of what's our other rapid fire that we've been asking. I'm blanking.
I guess. Well, I just one that just popped into my head. If you weren't going to be a coach, what was the career path that you were going to follow?
We actually had that conversation one day in the office. I told them I was good with math and numbers, and I could have been an accountant or CPA or something. That'd have been about it. That's something a lot of people don't know about me either. I'm good at numbers and math.
So filing taxes is like a breeze for you?
No, I pay somebody to do that.
Yep. So, I mean, that's just a smart. That's good with numbers. That's exactly what that is. Math. I never knew that, Coach. Well, unless you got anything else for us, we can get ready to wrap this up, man.
Nah, man, I appreciate y'all having me. And they just came in here and said that we had an LSU coach here that's on campus. I'm gonna go out there and visit with him.
All right, go do that, Coach Brotherton. We really appreciate you taking some time to hang out with the Benchwarmers, man.
Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a good day.
Yeah, never a dull moment for a high school football coach. You get news and LSU coaches on campus right in the middle of the
You're always doing something, whether it's ancillary with your kids or somebody else, because a lot of these guys are teachers as well, so they might have to grade a test or two. So shout out to Coach Brotherton and everybody that's joined us on the Benchwarmers this year, and looking forward to many more.
Yeah, for sure. We're not going to go for too much longer because, obviously you're feeling under the weather.
I got a sneeze coming up, man. It is like right there, dude. I got the tea going. I got the tissues here.
Yeah, he's prepared as always.
Hey, man.
So I guess your TO would be that you're sick.
Man, I'm ticked off about being sick, dude. This is for the birds, man. I thought I had it. I get sick about once a year maybe, and I had it earlier in March. For May, for birthday week, to be sick, it's a heavy burden I carry. But I'm getting through it. I'm joking, of course.
I'll share birthday month with you if you'd like.
May 17th, correct?
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry to put your government out there if you didn't want it, but we're bros, man. Benchwarmers has been fun. Looking forward to what happens this week in baseball.
Yep.
LSUS. In terms of high school, LSUS as well. 51. Didn't even mention LSUS.
No.
First Red River Athletic Conference tournament since 2021. They're 51-0. When this comes out, they'll have a couple more days before they begin the opening round of the NAIA tournament. I forget how many games they actually have to win. So there's 4 teams. Win your opening game, the next game, and the one next.
Maybe
so
3?
I think if they win 4 times,
but maybe 4. 3 if they go straight to the winners bracket.
Right.
I don't know.
I could be mistaken.
I mean, they should.
Well, because you play your opening game, and then you advance to the winners bracket game. You beat that team. That losing team has to play the other team that lost and won.
Right. Or if you're 51,
this may not be the best explanation that I'm giving right now, but yeah.
If you're 51-0, you should just go to the Nationals.
Man,
I mean,
still got to do it. And I think they enjoy the grind. Like Coach Neffendorf and those players, awesome pitching staff.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's as much as runs that they score, their pitching has kept them and won them a lot of games.
Right. Well, yeah, they're awesome. And we also say Matt's awesome, but this is week 2 in a row without a Matt's minute, so we got to get on him. And Daniel's playing through. He's doing his flu game right now.
Cold game.
Nothing.
It's a cold game out here.
We haven't even gotten a lot of comments from Matt today.
Matt's due, and I'm sure the next minute, whenever it happens, will be quite enjoyable.
Well, we can't wait for that. Daniel, go home, get some rest, enjoy your 3-day weekend.
Man.
We will see you next week on the Benchwarmers.